This is the condition. Everything is subject to change. We're back with another reflection on the Daily Vedantic. And today's reflection is on one of the greatest phrases, philosophical phrases humans have ever come up with, and that is, "This too shall pass." The story is of a king that asked a wise sage, "What can I write on the inside of this ring that will apply in any scenario?" I've chatted about this before in a previous episode, that as the story goes, the wise sage said, "This too shall pass," because it provides positivity and based in reality, positivity in hard times, and it provides humility in seemingly good times that you think, wow, they're never gonna, I've worked so hard, I finally got it. These good times are never gonna end. This too shall pass. This is related to yesterday's episode. To take it a step further, this reflection is related to yesterday's episode about preparation. The practical benefit of philosophy being in preparation for the worst, preparation for reality, for what is likely going to happen. As Socrates said, philosophy is preparation for death. It's preparation for, okay, I'm coming to terms with the fact that yet death is a universal reality. I will die one day. And it sounds morbid and grave, but only to those that are unprepared for it. This, and I'm not saying I'm prepared for it, but I'm at least aware that that is a very likely inevitability for this body, mind, intellect. And this reflection takes it a little bit further to talk about this too shall pass, preparation for the worst, and the fact that any state we are in, the relative plane, any state that we are in is subject to change. This reality to reinforce, to prepare for is built around anything that you're going through, anything that you are going through. Its nature is to change. There is nothing static about the world we live in. The world as it is described in Vedanta is dvandvas, is Sanskrit for opposites. The world is opposites. Yesterday's episode is maybe the antidote. This is the condition. Everything is subject to change. That's what life is change. From the absolute perspective, there is a changeless supreme within this philosophy, and that's our natural state, is that changelessness. Yet from the relative perspective, the relative plane, everything here is constantly in flux and change. Every 7 years, all of our cells in our body, as they say, completely changed. And if you're changing every 7 years, you're changing every 7 seconds. Everything that we think is stable is what's in a constant flux, change, falling apartness. There's a wabi-sabi nature to the beauty of deterioration. It's wabi-sabi being this beautiful artistic expression, philosophical observation, Japan, around the beauty and deterioration. Everything that we think, that we hold dear, is subject to change. And that is a reality that so few of us are willing to admit. The illusion is that we can find stable ground. The illusion is that if we can get this amount in the bank account, or this amount of notoriety, this career stability, then we'll at least have some solid ground upon which we can build the rest of our empire. But there is nothing solid about this universe. There is no stable ground. As Ram Dass would famously say, there is no ground to stand on. This is all sand, and it is all shifting constantly. As Christ said, build your house upon rock and not sand. This world is what he's talking about. Building your house, your home, your identity around this world is a fool's errand because it is all sand. It is all unstable. And many of the other episodes and reflections within the Daily Vedantic cover the rock upon which we can build our home, or metaphorically, our identity. But this episode is really just around where not to build our home, where we're told not to build our identity. That's upon the sand, or the ever-shifting, ever-changing nature of the world that we live in, this world of opposites. Not only should we not build our identity in this world of opposites, but we should recognize the reality that in this world is in a constant state of change, which is, well, it is an oxymoron to even say a constant state of change. It is change. And everything we're leaning on is subject to change. If this too shall pass is a helpful balm in any situation, good or bad, recognizing the world and everything that we lean on in this world, everything that we identify within this world, our bodies, our minds, our intellects being subject to change, that further reinforces the fleeting nature of everything that we are perceiving here. And the foolishness to build our home upon it, to lean on it too much, because it is all subject to change. Different episodes within the podcast will cover the changeless, what to identify with. But this episode is just a reinforcement, a reflection on what not to identify with, on what not to lean on. And you certainly can, and we all do lean on what we think is stable in the world, what we think is our identity here in the world. But the proper assessment would say, okay, that is only going to change, shift, turn, switch, fade. It's inevitable for it to do all of these things. So is it really that wise to lean on it too much? Is it really wise, or is it just built-in inevitable disappointment? From 30 miles out, you can see it. Disappointment all over. Happiness, as they say, is reality minus expectation. Grand expectations and a mediocre reality for any event in life, anything you're planning, leads to a whole lot of unhappiness. But the proper expectation, met with reality, you end up having this surplus, this happiness, this joy, this contentment, because, well, you properly assessed your expectations. And related to yesterday's advice, and to expect the worst is pessimism, but to be prepared for the worst is philosophy. Related to that is that we should expect change. Expect change throughout life. Because if there is one thing this world does, shows us that we know, we see and experience our entire lives over and over and over again, and yet we still delude ourselves from its existence. There's one thing this world does really well, over and over, right in front of our eyes. It's change. That is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.